Check. There may be some background feedback while I do this. Let's do this sound check. Sound check is fine on intake. Do we have live sound check? We do. We do have live sound check. We do. We do. Do we have sound on YouTube though? Okay, we're live. Okay, sound check's fine. Let me just move that so I'm actually looking at the camera. That's often what I get moaned at about. So am I looking at the camera now? I am looking at the camera now. There we go. So this is Mental Monday. We are about to begin in a few seconds. So one moment. We start at 7, so technically this allows people to join. Also allows me to just check and double check everything, because obviously we want to make sure we are live and direct, as the Twitch notification would have said. We are live. Need to turn the sound off. Welcome. There'll be a full introduction in a minute. We do start at 7, as I say. So, full introduction. And I need to sort my Twitch out because I have nothing under my stream and I need some extensions. So that's something to do. YouTube is live, powered by Restream. Yep, that's fine. We are using Restream. Restream is a good tool. No, nothing wrong with them having a shout out. Lots to talk about today, actually. I think you're gonna enjoy it if you're one of the early comers here to Mental Monday today. You think you're gonna have a good time. So yeah. Let's just wait for 2 more minutes and then we are about to begin Mental Monday, the big friendly conversation about mental health, which needs a shorter name in fairness. So let me actually get the actual time up because I think my clock may be slightly wrong. No, it's not. So okay, so just another quick sound check, maybe some background feedback. Sound check, sound check, sound check. Sound check, sound check, sound check. Sound check on Twitch. Sound check on YouTube. Sound check on Restream. Sound check, brilliant. Okay, sound check has passed. And with 1 minute to go. So we do like to start dead on 7 because it's pretty good. We are slightly early today. I normally expect technical issues, so starting early kind of helps with that, and straightening up the camera would be a good idea, wouldn't it? So, is that, am I looking at the camera? Ooh, that doesn't seem straight. Is that straight? Maybe something like that. This is one of the things that's either sound or camera positioning, because obviously it's just phone and tripod, because this is my pro YouTuber setup, it's a phone and a tripod. So, yeah. Anyway, welcome. Thank you for joining me. It is great to be here. It's great to have this all set up. I apologise for the hair. It is what it is. It will get cut. Do not worry. And now we are about to begin. Hello and welcome to Mental Monday. This is the big friendly conversation about mental health, or by its short name, Mental Health Live. Over the next half an hour, we're going to be having just that, a big friendly conversation about mental health. Thank you so much for joining me. If you're here for the first time, this is an unscripted conversation, so we can discuss anything you want through the chat. As always, I'll be glancing over to my second monitor to discuss some of the bullet points that I've written down. You can reach me anytime throughout the show. If you do reach me in chat, I may read your message out, so do put on there if you don't want me to do that. You can reach me on YouTube and Twitch, which we're streaming to live today, so that is Twitch Overlord Jake and YouTube just at Jake Symons. However, if you don't want to message in the chat, you can also message via email, which is jake@jakesymons.com, Instagram, jake_Symons, or even Twitter @JakeSWrites. Those are the only platforms I check through the show. I do have other socials which are not checked, but if you do message me on them, I will get you after. As always, if you do want to message me after the show about anything, you're more than welcome to do so. Just make sure that if you're doing that, you don't do it through the show if you don't want me to read it out, if that makes sense. So either if you want me to read it out, do it now, or if you don't, do it after. And fair enough. This is not a kind of position I can help you in, so the usual, if anything upsets you, help is available. Samaritans 116 123, or Childline if you're under 18, which is 0800 11 11. So those resources are there for you should anything be upsetting or triggering. Because of this, we do try and avoid graphic descriptions of things and triggering stuff in general, because this is more open than a blog. So therefore, you're gonna, because a wider audience have this and say people with a blog, it's just good to avoid triggering things altogether. As always, reach me after the show, and that's the introduction out of the way. So welcome to Mental Monday, Mental Health Live. So you might have noticed we have a shorter introduction now. That's probably the one we're going to keep. First thing I want to ask is the usual question I ask every 2 weeks that we do this now, and that is, how are you? Always start with this question because it's such an important question to ask, to, do a mental health check-in, make sure we're all okay, and if we're not, just to express that, because even though, you say, oh, I'm not alright, and I can't make you alright, it's still an expression, isn't it? It's still you getting that off your chest. So do let me know in the chat or on any of the socials I mentioned, or a link in the description below. You may also notice we are filming in HD, which I think shows how badly my wall needs painting more than anything else. But it is what it is for the moment. And I will go ahead and answer that question first. I have been alright, actually. I have been redesigning. I've been very busy. I've been redesigning the whole, I've been redesigning a few websites, actually, but I've been redesigning the mental health blog as well, because I thought, I'm doing all these websites, I might as well do mine. So it's interesting because obviously it doesn't have all the paid software and, all the, fancy plugins, because it's literally built very cheaply, for now anyway. And then obviously that's not going to stay like that, but for now it's built very cheaply. So it's very kind of DIY and kind of patch fixing things. But it works. There's a few load issues which are to be expected because I haven't worked on that yet. The blog is a mess, so if you are going to the site to check out the redesign, it's not done yet. It's just in a position where it's alright to go live, but there's still all the posts need to be updated with new images, and all that kind of stuff. So there is a big redesign. The reason for the redesign is Mental Health Awareness Week, which is on the 10th to 16th of May. And the graphics were released for that a few days ago, and I'm going to talk more about that later. But yeah, so that's been fun. It's been very busy, because obviously, it's a whole redesign, so there's so many pages to do. You look at it and it's like it's only 30 pages plus, a few blogs. But actually, there's actually quite a lot when you have to do all the images and everything else, and then I've got to optimize every page because, traffic and that. So from a kind of marketing head, my website is atrocious, but from a mental health point of view, it's a place to share my story. It's a place to get out what I want to say, and it does achieve that. So marketing standpoint, absolutely rubbish, but from mental health brain on, it's a good website. So that's been taking up most of my time. So how has your last 2 weeks been? Have you enjoyed some of the lockdown reopenings? Obviously, pub gardens, hairdressers, among others. Yes, we need an appointment for this. This is all going. This is not permanent at all. We're having it all off. Not all off in that way, but just most of it off, and then back at the front, hopefully, and just have something normal. Would be really nice. So there's that to do. Have you enjoyed a pub garden? Been out much? Just checking through some of your comments. I was also, I put this on my Instagram story because it was an Instagram post originally. There was a message from Young Minds Foundation, and it really resonated with me. And the post was very simply, you know, it's okay to feel anxious about things reopening. And to me, having that posted by Young Minds UK on Instagram was really validating, because as I've said before on various other Mental Mondays, it is a bit anxious going back and restarting, you know, your life when you've got so used to a new routine. And it's kind of a similar situation to when we went into the first lockdown. When you get so used to a routine, it can be difficult to break that and then form a new routine, even if, you know, a year ago that was the routine you were doing. So actually, it is quite challenging to actually kind of process kind of going back out and the kind of feelings around that. So it is valid, you know, not to feel 100% happy and over the moon that lockdown is easing. And, you know, if you do feel a bit of apprehension there, that is a valid feeling. And I did want to repost that rather, because it's so validating to actually hear that. And I thought I'd just share that as well, because, you know, I know that's applicable to some of you when you're like talking about going back out and your feelings around that, and is that something you're going to be okay with, or something you're just going to step back straight into? And, you know, it will take time to adapt, but we adapted into the first lockdown, so it's going to be a similar process, and you will get through it because you have got through it before, and, you know, chances are you'll be able to do that again. So that's kind of my thoughts on that. What do you think? Hi, I am well, Village Sky Lizard. How are you? It's nice to have someone comment in Twitch. That is our first Twitch comment, actually, which is really nice. So there's that to do. I wonder if they post that on Twitter, because I will retweet that as well. Just checking Twitter. Sure, no one's... I need a platform, as I've mentioned last episode, that brings YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, all the feeds, one place. I need that, because I'm currently swapping between about 5 tabs right now, and it's not the best setup. So yeah, there's that to do. And I did want to talk a little bit about Mental Health Awareness Week, because obviously that's coming up. The graphics have been released, as I mentioned. I don't know if I can use those graphics yet, because they're not the official graphics. The official graphics are like a download pack, and it's for, like, you know, your Twitter cover and your email signature and your Instagram post, and you can just download them in like an official downloads pack. That hasn't been released. They've just, you know, updated the page on the website with some graphics. So I don't know if I can actually use them yet, but it would be cool. I'll have to ask. They're actually quite nice. A lot of pastel colours, a lot of kind of calming, naturey images. As always, do a wonderful job with the graphics. So that's to do. We will be live for Mental Health Awareness Week. I've sorted that out now. We are live, probably not as long, because obviously we're doing it each day. It'll probably be a check-in, like a mental health daily check-in to discuss the kind of content that's been produced that day, because obviously there'll be a lot of content produced. Graphics for Mental Health Awareness Week. So it is the graphics that are for, well, it's on their website, Mental Health Foundation. I don't know if you're in the UK, but that's the mental health charity here. And they produce, like, graphics for you to share. Those haven't been released yet, but they have released their own kind of graphics, which I presume are, like, copyrighted by them for their own website. And, yeah, asking if I can actually use the websites on their the graphics on their website, rather than, you know, waiting for the release, because it'd be good to kind of get a head start on that. Because there's 5 blogs to come out, although we can't do 2 of them until the actual week, because one of them, and I'll just run through this now, the first one's an introduction, so that's the same blog that you get at the start of every awareness week on my website, which is, you know, this is an awareness week, this is what it's for, this is the theme, this is why we're doing it, this is why we're talking about nature and mental health. Obviously it's helped me a lot. Obviously there's a nice picture, which I probably would change on my Samarathon, which I did in 2019, which was a fundraising thing. Nice picture of me in a forest. So, yeah, there's that to do. There's quite a few pictures of me in the forest, actually. I probably should update some of those because I look so young in them. And then there's going to be kind of talking about that, Mental Health Foundation's research, which we can't do until the Mental Health Foundation actually release their kind of research, and that is a big PDF, which is like 60 odd pages, and we put that into about 600, 700 words of blog post, which makes it a lot more digestible for people to actually read, rather than because no one's going to read a PDF unless they're like a journalist or part of some kind of mental health thing that requires that. So that's good. And then we just do a roundup, really, of all the best content. That's kind of how it ends. Nice roundup on Friday of the best content. Video format will follow a similar pattern, so the videos will mainly be based off the blogs, but obviously it will be unscripted-ish, so you'll be able to, comment as well on all the usual platforms, as you can do on normal Mental Mondays. So there is a lot coming, which is why the website needed redesigning, so it all ties together. And yeah, it's a really fun time. I mean, I do it well in advance. Like, I start planning this February, March time, and that just means it's a lot less stressful when it comes to May, and I've got, blogs written already, so it's just a lot easier to write the kind of the few bits that are remaining when it actually comes to the week, so that's good. So yeah, that's all coming up. I did now, while I think of it, want to pick up on something we were discussing last episode 2 weeks ago, which was about mental health conversations. And I'm going to write more about this on the blog because I thought I had more content on it than I do, and I only have like 2 or 3 posts on it, and there's definitely a lot more I could actually say. And it's about how talking about mental health isn't for always banging on about it, and a lot of people say on Twitter especially talk about mental health as always physically talk about mental health, which is kind of not what it is. It's kind of an exaggeration of what it is. For me, it's more about creating space, to always having the space to talk about it. So, if you need to talk about it, it should be linked in the description, jakesymons.com. It's not done, so a lot of it will look broken. That's because I was in the process of updating it before to the stream. So, best off seeing it tomorrow, when hopefully it's done. But yeah, so blog will look horrendous because it's not done. So yeah, you'll still be able to read the post though. You can still read the blog. It's just not very nice to kind of visually to look at. So there you go. There's your content warning on that. But going back to kind of conversations on that, it's more about, for me, creating the space. So I can just say to a mate, I'm not having a good day, and they get that, and yeah, admittedly, part of that is because, people watch this. People watch me on YouTube. I mean, it's my Instagram, my personal Instagram feed is kind of full of mental health stuff. It's kind of pretty obvious that I am, I do suffer from low mental health. I mean, that's not really something I try and hide, nor do I want to. So I think for me, I do have it slightly easier in opening up those conversations because, people I know, people that I'm friends with, know, because they follow me on social media, it's known. But, when you're not in that position, and I was before I started, everything, kind of internet and content-wise, I was just, normal, apart from being autistic, so never completely normal, but normal in the sense that, people wouldn't have probably seen that I had a mental health problem because I was, just a little bit autistic, a little bit weird, and a little bit different, and that's probably all people saw me as. But actually, there's, anxiety and depression under that, and it can be difficult to create that space to talk if you don't have it already. So if you're just trying to come out of the blue to people that would have thought you were otherwise fine and say, hey, I've got a mental health problem, do you want to sit and talk about it? Like, it's not really not really a great conversation. It kind of goes down like a bit of a lead balloon, really. Yeah, I'm autistic. High functioning, I think. Was diagnosed very young, very kind of toddlery young. Yeah, so it kind of, it's very difficult to create that space, and that I think is one of the challenges, because we can say, talk about mental health, but if you've got no one to talk to, or you can't really talk, because you've got to have the icebreaker, because you've got to, even if it's like someone you know really well, and that's sometimes the hardest thing, is talking to people you know, and then saying, actually, I'm not okay. I'm not feeling too good, and like my mental health's bad, and I just wanted to tell you, it's not really something you can word in a nice way that kind of is it fits into a conversation. It's always going to be difficult, and that is the hurdle, and that's something I've definitely have. As I say, it's a bit easier now. So for me, mental health awareness and the whole kind of point of mental health events, and why I cover them so heavily, and why it kind of all ties in together again, is because mental health events are a chance just to remind people that may not have low mental health, their mental health may be good, that there are people out there that don't feel the same way as them, and instead of dismissing it as, oh, they'll talk to a doctor, they'll talk to a counsellor, they'll sort themselves out. Actually, we've all got to just create the space. If 1 in 4 of us have a mental health problem, that's a lot of people. That's a lot of people that you're interacting with that might not be okay. So it's, less about, the walking on eggshells and the always going on about mental health, which is the kind of two that I get. It's either you don't want to say anything because it might, upset someone's mental health, or you get to a position where mental health is always at the forefront of the conversation. And it's actually, for me, mental health awareness is more actually just creating the space and the openness to talk. So, your friends know, and, that if they're not feeling well, you can talk to them, and that, they're there for you. And it's really hard to create that. It is really hard to do that. I don't know, I think the way I do it, and this is just what works for me, is if I sense, and I guess because, again, being mental health community, it's kind of, I pick things up, how people are feeling. Sometimes, not all the time. But sometimes, and, just asking, are you okay? Are you sure about that? And just kind of, are you sure? Kind of just a very simple way of trying to get someone to open up, or at least giving them a little wink and a hint to say, if you need to talk, look, I'm inviting you to talk. And that's kind of how I do it. Again, that might not work for everyone. That's just what I do. But yeah, it is creating that hurdle and creating that space is a massive challenge. Especially if you've got you don't want to talk to anyone about what you're going through, because obviously low mental health, you're feeling alone and isolated, and you don't want to bring people into that. Sometimes it is, you can't get over that easily, but when you do, and you actually have, say, just one person you can talk to, that is good. That is good to have people there that you can talk to. So, I mean, even if it's just someone you feel close to, or a friend, family member, someone that you really know well, trust, speak to a lot, have probably comforted you before, hopefully. It's just a nice person in your life that you can trust and go to. That would be my place to start it off, to kick things off and say, right, this is who I'm going to talk to, this is who I'm going to tell, and just having that first conversation. And that first conversation is always the hardest one, and just trying to make it as natural as possible, and trying to, avoid the kind of reading off, going on, say, NHS and reading off, but just saying how you feel, and how it's going for you, and, if they can do anything. And, they're not going to be able to fix you. And a lot of people then say, well, what am I meant to do? Like, someone tells me they've got a mental health problem. Like, I can't fix them. And, like, you're not meant to. That's not your job. But what you can do is support them. And that doesn't mean fix them. That just means, let them talk, listen a bit, just be less quick to react if they may say no to going out or doing something, or they're slightly slow to respond to a text or something like that. And just having that extra kind of in the back of your mind, they're probably not feeling well. So instead of saying, why aren't you texting me, just give them some space, or, ask, hey, are you alright? Just be normal with it. And I think the biggest thing that really helps me talking to people is just by normalising it. So instead of making like this big conversation that has to be, this huge thing, and that just builds your anxiety up about it. Actually, if you say, this is just a conversation that I'm having, I don't feel well, it's okay to say that, and just say it, and just make it normal, just make it part of that normal conversation, and just, talk to your friends normally, like they're friends. Just with, obviously, there will be that extra dynamic there, but, if you just normalise it, that just really helps me, because then people aren't daunted, they see that I am still me. They don't, I'm not changed because I've told them I have a mental health issue. They're, I'm still me. I'm still your mate. I can still do all the matey things. I can still do all that. But sometimes I might not be up for it. Sometimes, I might not reply. And that's okay. And just be aware of why that might be. And that, for me, is, awareness. That is what it's all about, is creating that space and that place so that anyone that needs to talk openly can actually talk openly. And there's not that kind of fear there. And there's not that kind of, oh, I don't know who to talk to, I don't have anyone to talk to, because you can just go and you can just talk. And that's what it's really all about for me. And there we go. That was a very nice thought to end on. Thank you so much for watching and spending half an hour with me today. It's been great to see everyone. And as always, you can reach me after the show on Twitter at JakeSWrites, on Instagram Jake_Symons, via email, or via our website jakesymons.com, all of which linked in the description. So that's it from me. I will be back in 2 weeks' time for the next episode of Mental Monday, where we'll talk more things lockdown easing and getting back to normal. And that will be on the 3rd of May. So I hope to see you all there, 7 PM, same time as usual. In the meantime, thank you so much for watching, and enjoy your 2 weeks.